had a lot of mixed emotions about it. Fear, uncertainty, the challenge of a new company. I talked with a lot of people here in the office. In fact, the discussions at lunchtime really got deep.
When I found out that I once again had to make a choice, it was a very difficult decision to make. I felt very ambivalent about it. And the reason because I had a lot of friends who I knew would end up in a company where I would be in direct competition with them. It was almost like having to make a choice between families.
When we were informed by the company that we did have to make a choice, I really didn't have any feeling at that time. My feeling came when it was time to fill out the form. I was a little bit nervous after I made my choice. I wasn't sure if I made the right choice.
I felt confusion. Another choice to make. The way things are going to be is not very clear. But the more I thought about it, I felt like it was new opportunities opening up for me.
As the Bell system readies for divestiture, most of the 7,000 marketing employees had to make a tough decision. How those decisions were reached is just one of the stories in this month's Marketing Report. It was a difficult day for all Bell System employees as the family of friends and co-workers was disrupted, never to be the same. Many employees were asked to complete a form indicating their preference for MBT or AT&T. The completed forms were reviewed by representatives of the new companies to allocate a fair mix of employees. Kathy Carrick represented the personnel department at the roundtables. She explained their objectives at those meetings.
Trying to represent as objectively as possible the interests of each of the entities, and most importantly, trying to represent the interests and rights of the employees. And having never gone through a process quite like this before, we weren't sure what to expect. You'd come into a roundtable meeting, sometimes with people that you haven't really worked with before, and each representing their various entities. There really weren't any knockdown, drag-out fights, however, and I think the reason for that is because each of the entities came into those meetings wanting, first of all, to satisfy the preferences of employees. They wanted to have in their organizations people who'd said, I want to work for you. And we all would have liked to have been able to satisfy that 100%, but you don't always have a perfect match.
Not all employees, however, had to face that awkward choice. Some, because of the nature of their job and the marketing plans of the two companies, will be transferred as a group to AT&T or remain as a group with Michigan Bell. Some employees commented on having this decision made for them.
It was scary because I've got over 25 years with Michigan Bell, and even though I would be staying with the parent corporation, AT&T, leaving my original company was scary. In the job that I perform and my interests, I think it's exciting what's coming, and we'll be able to work on newer and better equipment than what we've ever seen before. There are some people who will remain with the operating company and would prefer to be here, but that could change down the line also.
I was a little bit concerned because AT&T is, of course, one of the strongest and largest corporations in the country, and I had been a part of that for 19 years. So I guess concern would be my first thought. Well, I think for the directory department, Yellow Pages, it's going to give us an opportunity to make a more significant contribution to a smaller group. The $150 million that we have here in Michigan is going to be a lot more important to Ameritech than it would be to AT&T.
The coin department really didn't choose. Judge Green chose us. It's good news to me because I feel that Ameritech will be starting not at a ground level, but as a new business with a head start.
Incidentally, Judge Green made another important decision. He denied AT&T the use of the word Bell in their names. From now on, American Bell will be known as AT&T Information Systems. The company we once called Atix will be known as AT&T Communications. Overall, whether employees are going to Attis, Atcom, or staying right here, most seem satisfied with their futures.
For the people who made a choice, either ABI or BOC, they were in essence saying, you know, if I have a preference, this is where I want to go. And in talking to most of the people, those who got their choices, like myself, were really happy about it.
Most of the people at this stage of the game have been with the company 5 to 10 years. By the time they've got that much senior, they know more or less what they want to do. They know what the job entails and what their abilities are, and I think they're pretty satisfied as a whole.
Everyone that I know has gotten their choice, yes.
The other employees that I've talked with seem to envy me in my position with Ameritech as opposed to their position with AT&T because they're undecided. They really don't know what the future holds for them. There's talk of other jobs for them, different assignments. Personally, my job is fairly secure. It really hasn't changed any, other than the fact that we're no longer reporting directly to AT&T. And personally, I think I've got the best of the situation.
I think that I'm looking forward to the opportunities that we're going to have in our new company. I think that as things start to settle down and become more structured, that we will become even bigger and better.
I know that everybody within the district that I work in received their selection. In other words, if they chose addicts, so they are now with addicts. If they chose EBO, they're now with EBO. And presently, everybody is very satisfied with the company that they did select.
An analysis prepared for MBT officers indicates that of the employees expressing a preference, 88% of management employees and 93% of the non-management employees received their first preference. A top priority of the roundtable group was to ensure an equitable distribution of female and minority employees. Their success speaks for itself. Minority employees represent 35% of Michigan Bell's employees and 29% of AT&T's employees. Females account for 88% of the employees in NBT and 83% in AT&T. A real achievement, considering that they also satisfied about 90% of the employee requests. Satisfying the customer will be a bigger challenge as Divestiture introduces radical changes in telephone company operations. To ease the transition, the Bell system will test its plans beginning in October. The customer's bill may be the first indicator of the many changes.
We're going to be introducing in October a larger bill stock, but the format's not going to change any. Then with functional divestiture, beginning with the November 22nd bill period, we're going to be issuing a bill which will be completely different to the customer. It will be divided by local service, equipment, and interlata, or long-distance telephone calls, which would span what is interstate today, so to speak. And that will be broken out just like the divestiture bill will be for January 1 of 1984. The difference is it will not have entity names on it. It'll be in English, and the customer will be able to better understand their bill. It's going to provide them with adjustment information, which they don't get today, the balance from the last bill, and how much that they have paid during the month.
Getting a telephone repaired will be a new experience.
If the customer calls our repair department, through our line of questioning, we will try to determine if the trouble is in their sets, terminal equipment, or if it's in the facilities. If through conversation it is determined that the customer has problems in their set, like the cord is broken, the dial is broken, we will instruct them to call their vendor. If it's facility problems, dial tone, no dial tone on all phones, then we will take that report and handle it. There will be those cases that we can't isolate just through a conversation or what the customer is telling us, okay? In those cases, if we have to make a prom visit, the customer will be instructed about the maintenance of service charge.
Another change will be the way orders are written. Nancy Rain, BSC staff, explained.
I think the biggest change in the order process is the fact that the customer will no longer be able to get complete service from the BSC. We will be handling the facility side of his request and then referring him during functional divestiture to the EBO. Now, after divestiture occurs on 1/1/84, we will be referring him to any other vendor. We have an extreme, very important customer education process to begin, and it really starts with the business office because the customer will be placing his first call to us. And it's our job to educate him so that he can move along through these other companies as quickly as possible and get the service that he's used to getting.
In addition to these challenges, there are many others. Relocating records, changing office telephone numbers, making sure paychecks get delivered to the proper address, and employees will need additional training to make the transition work. Edna Bell is coordinating that for the business service centers.
Training for divestiture will be done in 3 phases. Our replicated forces will begin training September 26th and complete November 1st. Our divestiture training will begin the 2nd week in October, and that will be completed November 1st. That is a 1-day training package for all of our people in the BSCs, our order writers, order typists, and service representatives. Our 3rd phase will be our training for divestiture, the real day, 1/1/84. That will begin in December. It will be a 2-day training package for our service representatives, a 1-day package for order writers and order typists. The biggest concern about training relates to how we get all of the people scheduled for training, and there are approximately 575 BSC people that will need to be trained first in October and again in December, and how we maintain quality service and make sure that we're giving our customers all the things they need as we get all the training done.
To complete the timeline for functional divestiture, here are some of the departmental plans. 10-1, ATCOM Business Marketing Group responsible for interstate WATS accounts. Begin training BSC employees for split billing procedures. 10-15, ATCOM responsible for private line accounts. 10-26, training for business marketing employees. By the end of October, begin RSC training for split billing methods. 11-1, ATIS begins servicing business embedded base accounts. ATCOM begins servicing interLATA circuits. 11-14, trial functional divestiture for RSCs in Allen Park, RTOC, and New Center RASC. 11-22, begin split billing statewide. 12-1, functional divestiture statewide for RSCs. 12-15, begin full divestiture training. 1/1/84, full divestiture. Present plans call for MBT to provide billing and collection services for both ATIS and ATCOM. MBT will also provide account inquiry services for AT&T Communications. The purpose of functional divestiture is to test the methods developed. There will be some problems during this period, of course, but the goal is to have these problems minimized by the time divestiture becomes a reality. Another project fast approaching reality is the boss-back system being introduced to both residence and business service centers. This system permits instant access to computer records for all customers, reducing the manual filing of paper records and the time-consuming search for those records. The first RSC installation was at 2 locations in Redford and Livonia, opening on July 15th. The first BSC conversion will be October 14th at the West BSC. By the end of 1984, all service centers will be fully converted. The result will be improved efficiency for MBT and better customer service. Community service is something the pioneers are famous for. Recently, they banded together to renovate a house near the Detroit Medical Center. This house will accommodate families when a member is suffering with a catastrophic illness. The house will permit families to be together without incurring the extra expense of hotel rooms. Restoring the house was hard work, but all of the participants found it worthwhile.
You think I'd do this at home for myself? Only for the pioneers.
In our earlier coverage of divestiture planning, we omitted an important issue. Pete Muldoon, AT&T's Vice President for Future Strategies, explains.
I come before you today to speak about the difficult job we all have in front of us. And I'm not speaking metaphorically about the tremendous job we all have dealing with the unsettling, the discomforting effects of divestiture. No, I'm talking about a specific job that each of us have to do. We've got to paint the trucks. Now, since we're being split off, we've got thousands of trucks out there driving around with the wrong colors, the wrong logo, driving around advertising a bunch of BOC guys we're not even related to anymore. A bunch of guys who are going to print on each and every bill they send out that maybe their customers shouldn't do business with us anymore. Now, the BOCs can use any carrier they want. But if we, the new AT&T want to serve a customer in Boise, Idaho, do we have a choice? No. Now, we have to go hat in hand to the BOC and beg to be allowed to do our job. Now, I ask you, is that fair? They can use anybody, but we have to use them? Think of the power they have. And you know what they say about power corrupting? Where would this country be today if down through the years, the whole Bell system had been one big monopoly? Anyway, we need to paint the trucks with our new competitive colors. And I know I can count on you all. So, wear old clothes on Monday. Thank you.
I'm Michael Carroll for Marketing Report.